Hello, Facebookers. Please share this out. We'll be starting the show in a few minutes. We're going to give you some YouTube audio music. It's called Beach Disco. Anthony will be joining us shortly. Please share this out. This show is going to be a doozy. Fasten your seatbelts, Dorothy. You're not in Kansas anymore. It's time to break the silence. Get some people in here because you missed the beginning of the show. You're going to have to go all the way to the beginning to see what you missed. So it's best to stay tuned. We need other people to join in too. I see a lot of people have already joined. Have other people join. It's going to be a doozy. Happy Sunday. Happy Daylight Savings Time. About ready to go on. Fasten up.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP, Fargo-Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Well, you know, Duke, they say that good things come to those who wait.
Oh, yeah.
I have been waiting for the interview that I am going to bring you today for a long time. It feels like I've been waiting for years. I know it's only been about a year since all of these attacks started to happen to my guest tonight, Anthony Aguero. If you don't know Anthony Aguero, he goes by Conservative Anthony on social media. He is also a reporter for Border Network News. Along with Oscar El Blue Ramirez, this duo have been reporting on the border for over a year. I first came upon Anthony when he was reporting on what was going on in El Paso, Texas. What I discovered is that Anthony was bringing information about how the migrants were crossing into El Paso, the lack of a border wall in the location where he was filming, the use of local area NGOs and churches to move people into the United States, the drones in the desert, the use of the railroads and the trains to kind of cover the tracks of the migrants. It was a pretty breathtaking. What Anthony has been reporting, what Anthony had been showing, wasn't in any news on any platform in America. The same thing can be said of Oscar El Blue Ramirez of Border Network News. Both of these individuals have been reporting information you can't get anywhere else, which is why I have done interviews with both Oscar El Blue Ramirez and my next guest, Anthony Aguero. in the past. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Anthony. I know that it has been a long time in coming for you to break your silence. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
Anthony, there's a reason why you haven't been able to talk or why you chose not to talk until now, even though your platform and your partner have been getting a steady stream of attacks for months now. What's the reason?
There's several reasons behind why we've maintained or just chose to stay quiet. First of all, it would not look good for two men that are supposed to be professional to be getting caught up in childlike drama, uh, going back and forth with a woman that's even older than us. It would not look good. So we've tried to stay away from the drama and from all of the negativity because I feel what we bring forth on the news is kind of depressing enough. And then for us to be still getting caught up on negativity and using our platforms in a negative manner, it would not be a good look for us. The second reason is I was engaged in running for Congress. I thought that maybe by ignoring it, it would go away. Unfortunately, that is not what happened. Um, Trying just to ignore it and hoping it would just disappear did not help at all. And so as the time progressed over the last almost 9 months, that this has been vicious attacks on my character, on everything that I'm trying to bring forth in a positive manner gets misconstrued in a negative light. Uh, I feel that because I've been keeping up with everything that has been happening, I feel that I'm not I'm not the only one that this is happening to. And it is important for people to speak out against cyberbullying and individuals that continue to try to slander and continue to try to bring down other individuals. I'm by no shape, way, or form a victim. I am by no shape, way, or form trying to attack anybody right now. I am simply here wanting to state the facts because people for a very long time have been telling me, well, you should attack, you should say something, you should do this, you should do that, you have the platform to do it with. And that's not what my platform is designed for. That is not why I set out to do what I am doing. I set out to inform people and bring forth news and information that was currently happening on our southern border. And while I've been doing that, it just has not stopped and it has only gotten worse. And the
You know,
thing about it is,
I don't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to interject something that I relate to as a fellow reporter, as an individual that is trying to present the news, right?
right,
That one of the first rules about this is you don't become the story. You have to keep yourself separate from the story. And there are times that I have been reporting that that people that I have exposed have tried to draw me into the story itself, and it's a really tough position to be in. And on top of the fact that you were running a campaign, I don't know if people realize what that's like. I've run a campaign, not for a congressional seat like you, Anthony, but I don't care what kind of campaign it is. That's really hard work. It's stressful. It's very difficult. There is a lot of public relations that you have to manage on top of everything that was happening to you. So I really want to commend you for having decided to become a public service and for having run a very respectable campaign, especially this being your first time. Is that correct?
Correct. It was definitely my first time. It probably will not be my last.
So tell me, when you finally decided, given that you've finished your campaign now, that you were going to come forward and break the silence, you were already aware that there are other victims. I'm assuming some of them you might have seen come and speak on my show.
Correct. I did see, and mind you, I never miss your shows. Um, I did see several individuals come out and have their interviews. And, you know, me, like I said earlier, I'm not a victim of any sort, but I feel it is important to speak up on it because I see the pain on a lot of the people that you have been interviewing. I see their frustration. And the fact of the matter is that this woman uses her platform with large viewership to attack people. And the people that she's attacking don't have a platform to defend themselves on. So then they graciously, thank God for you, you're able to bring forth their side of the story. And I had enough. Immediately after, I ended up third place out of 6 candidates. Fake profiles jumped on my on my Facebook and started, saying all these nasty things back and forth, and these third-party Facebook pages, hate pages, and I'm just like, man, like that's it. Like we got to put an end to it, and I have to speak forth on it because when I originally met this woman, I was easily swayed simply by the fact that she uses the president's name on her page. So initially, you're like, oh man, this is a person that's fighting for the country, that is on the president's side. I'm going to follow. And that was not the case. That was not the case. This person uses her platform to advance her own personal agenda. Her views on her personal life, it really has no relevance really to the president. And every now and then she'll put a little article she'll share off of a random website in reference to politics, but for the most part, it's the glamour life that she tries to portray as she is living. And I really got fed up with seeing so many people hurt, and I just want to let people know that you're not the only one out there. Stay strong. Cyberbullying is real, and we have to talk about, and I don't want to say expose, but we have to put forth the individual.
Not only that, I think that you're adding to a long list of testimony, evidence, and believe it or not, when you demystify something, when you explain the way that it operates, the way that it functions, it becomes clear to everyone. The shows that I have done, and they are numerous, we have a long list of them. Where can folks find those shows, Duke?
They're not online. You have to go to Duke 1517 and YouTube and just search through there in the videos.
So we have a lot of past shows that have gathered evidence and have shown the pattern of this woman's behavior. And that helps people understand what they went through. It's almost like when you speak out today, you are going to help heal a lot of wounds for a lot of other people, Anthony. Not just to bring forth this important matter of cyberbullying, stalking, and harassing, and address it publicly. Like, this is a public service announcement as far as I'm concerned, to assist people in learning about this and knowing how to deal with it.
Correct.
But you're also helping heal people that have been past victims, in my opinion. So how did you first meet Paloma? How did you, because one of the stories that we've heard a lot is that you sought her out because she's very popular and she's for Trump. How did it happen?
Well, uh, I had created my public figure page, and I had already been reporting on the news and everything that was currently already in the works and that was happening down here. And all of us, all of a sudden, sorry about that.
That's right.
All of a sudden, I start getting a bunch of messenger notifications, blah, 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 blah. And close to like 14, 15 messages all at once. And I was like, who's this? And then finally the message said, hey, Anthony, this is Paloma for Trump. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, I think we have those texts, actually. You shared those with us. Let's show those on the screen if you could, Duke. The text messages from Paloma. Here are those messages. So you say at the top, can you tell me more about yourself, or is that her?
That's her.
Oh, that's her. Oh, they're all her. Yeah, because they're all on the other side. It says, can you tell me more about yourself? And then a bunch of thumbs up. So she tried repeatedly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, my goodness. Obviously, she was trying to get a hold of you. Go to the next screen capture we have here. And it goes on. And then finally she says, this is Paloma for Trump. And then more thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Persistent, huh?
Yes.
And then you said that there's a voicemail there. Is that like the voicemails that you shared with me? Is that the voicemail that you started?
Right. So right after you see those shots, the voicemails started coming in.
Okay, so let's go ahead and listen to those first audios. You haven't met each other. She is contacting you, and this is the first thing she says.
And then it said that generic message that says, can you tell me more about yourself? And then she sent me 1, 2, 3, 4 thumbs up in separate messages. And then at 11:30, she put, hi, Anthony. And then she sent me another message that says, this is Paloma for Trump. And then she sent me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other thumbs up in separate messages. And then she sent me, hi, Anthony, hi, Anthony, hi, Anthony. And then this is the message that she started with.
Hi, Anthony. Listen, I have a lot of followers, and I know what it's like to try to get a hold of us. And the only way that you can get a hold of someone that has so many followers is by spamming like you've never spammed before. So that's why I'm spamming you.
And then I responded, ¿Cómo estás? Feliz Año Nuevo. Gracias por lo que haces.
I have this psycho guy that I can't block, and he literally sends me like maybe 300-400 messages per day, and I literally cannot block him. But I don't know why. I can block him from commenting on my posts, but I can't block him from sending messages. So I'm a victim. I just made you a victim of my spamming.
I'm a victim.
Okay, let's break that down. This is the first contact that she is having with you, and she's telling you about stalking. And then she's talking about, it sounds like she said that a man, is she referring to Michael Shapiro there? What are your thoughts about this, please?
For the first conversation that you have with somebody and you're already projecting and saying that somebody's reaching out to you 400 times a day, that's kind of creepy. But nonetheless, that was the first initial conversation between this woman and myself. And
I don't
and
know.
right off the bat, she's telling me I'm a victim.
I'm
And
a
I'm like,
victim. And she's
okay.
saying that the only way to get, she's like, I have a lot of followers. She says, you and I are the same. We're similar. And the only way to get a hold of somebody like us is to do what I'm doing to you. So I made you a victim of me, just like I am victim of stalking.
So I just want to point out, for the last 8, 9 months, this woman said that I have ridden her coattails, that because of her that I have the following that I have, that because of her people follow me. But clearly, the first initial contact, she's saying we're at the same level. Okay.
In fact, she actually credits you for having a very large platform that you created. Here's the next audio that you played for me.
Yes.
Let's listen.
Anyway, I just got somebody. I had somebody comment right now that you tagged me on one of your posts, and I thank you so much. Especially, I know that last week Ben talked to you and everything else, and you offered us to come to Texas and everything, and I really really appreciate it. I don't know if you knew, and this is not to start any gossip or anything, but that woman Melinda, who I've seen once in my life, became so jealous of this whole social media thing. She filed for a restraining order against me, which is very serious, and it's an absolute lie, kind of like they do against a president. So anything, I can't have my name next to anything that has her name because she filed for a restraining order against me. Like that's how crazy this woman is for no reason. So I'm just letting you know. I already told Blue too, because he was kind of being entrapped by her, and she was trying to make videos with him and everything else, and you got to be careful with those women. So I'm just letting you know. She went as far as doing that, which is so crazy. It's fucking crazier than a fucking liberal. But and it's just because she's jealous, and I was making fun of her online. But I can make fun of whoever is calling me a threat to my own country. That's all. She started doing that, saying that I was a threat and violent to Mexico, and so I started making fun of her, and she went and filed for a restraining order. So I have no problem helping you. I have no problem being tagged on anything, except I'm sure you can understand if that woman filed for a restraining order against me, I can't really accept anything. I mean, that's what they do because they're crazy. And she has no interest in helping Mexico. She has no interest in helping America. Her only interest is helping herself. All she wants is donations. So I'm very honest. You know this. I'm very real. I've been doing this for many years, and I don't mess around. So I can't have any type of relationship with that woman. That's how she wanted it. She filed for a restraining order. What can I do? Thank you, Anthony. Yes, I spoke with Ben last week. We were trying to kind of work it out because we definitely wanted to try to join you at least for a couple of days soon. I'll be here in Mexico City for the next 2 weeks. Well, I'm close to Mexico City, so I definitely won't make it to the march. I was planning on promoting it anyway. I mean, it's my city. I live in Tijuana. Even though Linda and Amy say I don't. Like, this is how ridiculous it's become. Their jealousy, because they're like, woman, I'm a woman, obviously, but I don't behave like one. And because I'm more concerned about the real shit in the world, and not this hormonal bullshit they got going on. And that's how I am. And excuse my language, but listen, there's too much going on to be concerned with nonsense. And but I will promote it, and I do want to come and join you with Ben. So yeah, next time you want to reach somebody with a high audience, you know how to do it. I just taught you how to do it. You spam the crap of whoever it is, okay? I learned from my stalkers. Anyway, God bless you. Thank you so much also for what for what you're doing. I also appreciate everything that you're doing, and same with Blue and with Ben. I love Ben and I love Will, and we have a great relationship, and that's what matters, because it's us coming together. That can make a difference. One of us, it's just one person is just not good enough. And the more people that come together, you've created a lot of reach in Texas and what we are doing, and so have I, and so has Ben. So when people see us come together, they're going to pay attention, and we can mobilize millions of people. This is what some people just don't get. You created, she said. You created. That's before I ever met her. That's before I ever did anything with her. I already had my own thing going.
Mm-hmm. And it's very clear that she was very persistent in trying to reach you and work with you and be with you and Ben, because you guys command millions of people. You guys can bring together millions of people. So what actually happened when you and she's talking about Ben talking to you? Can you tell the story of how you guys ended up getting connected for this event?
So eventually what happened, because of what I had been doing down here in El Paso, Texas, when the Trump rally was announced, because of what I had been doing and because I had been such an advocate for President Trump here in El Paso, I was blessed with the opportunity to get, they provided me with 30 VIP tickets. And so therefore I invited my closest friends. I took my girlfriend. I invited Ben. I invited the whole crew to come out. And Paloma was also invited. So she came down here, and which is why you see her in pictures with Ms. Marjorie Taylor Greene, also who's running for Congress, who was also a social media influencer, helping and bringing forth a lot of information. She came down here, and that's why you see her on a lot of the pictures. That's why you see her in the VIP area sitting with us, because I was able to provide her with a ticket.
But you did not know her. You were doing this because Ben knew her.
Right. I did not personally know her. Ben is all about unity. I love that guy. He is all about bringing people together. And he feels that the more of us that work together, the more effective that we are going to be, the more of a force we are to be reckoned with. And so, I mean, even my buddy Ben, I keep in close contact with him. We have some surprises coming up. But even him, he realized, and I mean, you don't ever see him with any kind of ties to this woman anymore.
And just to be fair, you've been talking about what has transpired over the last 8 months on average, give or take some months, of constant harassment, threats, false defamatory statements made about you, made about Oscar, made about BNN, dredging up your history to try to besmirch your image, to dragging up ugly things about your past to try to discredit you for who you are today. And you have not responded in defense of yourself on videos on your platform, but you also haven't been doing it on your own pages, on your social media. You haven't said really anything about this all of these instances of what's going on with you. And I wanted you to, talk about how that affected your platform, because I know that both you and Oscar must have made this decision to stay silent for so long together. And there was a lot of, there was a lot of people that were very upset because you weren't talking about this drama that she's mentioning and all of her stalkers and all of these people that have restraining orders against her. You weren't talking about that, and people wanted you to, and there was a lot of attacks coming not only from Paloma, not only from her friends and followers, but also from the followers of BNN. How did you deal with that?
So we've been it's been a ride. Initially, when BNN started taking off, we ended up with people wanting to help. Currently, right now, we are blessed with the best team that we could have ever imagined that we have been able to put together. All like-minded individuals, people that work tirelessly, so selflessly, and they are all about the movement. I give a lot of credit to them for the success that Oscar and I have had because man, they really go above and beyond. But it wasn't always like that. We had an instance where we had a couple moderators, or mainly it's just one, who we invited to come on board because he seemed like he was always up to par on what we were doing, always sharing and always trying to, I don't want to say infiltrate, but always trying to be a part of. And so much consistency, it shows interest.
Mm-hmm.
So Oscar brought him on board, and I he wasn't on mine. He was on BNN and on Oscars, but I started realizing and seeing some things I did not really agree with. He was too forward with our women followers, or I don't like to call them followers, with our women friends that were on our pages. And to me, that's just like, okay, well, we're not a group of creepers. So I I did not really agree or appreciate in the way and the manner that he was carrying himself towards the people that were showing us appreciation, particularly the women.
Right.
And so that was a red flag for me. Another one was that uh, to a certain extent, even with our BNN staff, uh, it was not good. So some of our BNN staff are females.
Mhm.
We have both men and women that are helping us behind the scenes, and they weren't feeling comfortable, and it came down to the wire where we had to make a decision, and we did not want to make a victim of one of our loyal helpers, and basically somebody that has pushed us to the top and
Right.
helped us so much. So we had to get rid of that guy, and now that guy has turned
Jo-
on us.
joined in the cyberbullying.
Correct. He definitely has. This individual actually has child molestation charges. So he can bring up everything that I have on my end. I got into a car accident while I was driving drunk, yes. By the grace of God, I did not kill anybody. There was one individual that was injured out of the four people that were in the car accident. And I mean, they can repeat that story over and over and twist it in however many ways that they want to. But the fact of the matter is, if you're charged with child molestation, you really have no room to be talking. And I've maintained quiet on that as well. And finally, this is it, because he is a big part of what is happening behind the scenes, and he is also one of the people that help this other woman help run these hate pages.
I see. I see. Now, there seems like there was a lot of, I guess, for lack of a better word, a shakeup over at BNN with the moderators and how you were handling the attacks, and all of that, and lots of people got their comments taken down or they were banned. That wasn't just your decision and your doing. There was a lot of different people behind the scenes, as you said, right, that were making these decisions on the fly as things were happening.
Absolutely. So, to be honest with you, our moderators basically, and it's not to make us sound or embellish on it, but to be honest with you, we get a lot of messages throughout the day, various messages throughout the day, all day long. The phone, if you leave your phone on the ringer, it's just bling, 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 bling with notifications, people commenting, sharing, sending us inbox messages. So we divide our, our tasks between all of us. And if we are on a live stream or we are doing a video, our moderators take care of everything. At the end of the day, we trust them enough to do what they do for us. We know that they have our best interest at heart, 100%. And so they are always on there helping and assisting us in making those calls. And I know a lot of people have taken it personal. Oh, I was banned, I was blocked. And some people, end up joining sides with the other side or whatnot. And that's fine. But at the same time, our moderators are looking out for the best interest of the content, making sure that people are not getting harassed, and making sure that it is a clean content for everybody to join and bring in good substance and good discussions, nothing negative and not engaging on any kind of drama. So the people that were banned, it's nothing personal. For the most part, it was not myself. It was done through our moderators and admins that help us run the page. And a lot of the messages that get sent to us too, most of them get answered by our moderators and our admins.
Well, I got to commend you because, frankly, a lot of social media platforms in general, and especially news platforms do zero moderating, or they do moderating abysmally. And we also have moderators, and we try to moderate comments the best we can, but it is a difficult thing to do, right, Duke? I mean, it's a challenge. I don't think people that don't have this problem don't know how difficult it is to deal with a barrage of messages and questions and people saying that person upset me, or that person said this about me and I want you to get rid of them or ban this person. I mean, it's a lot, and it's not easy to do, right, Duke?
Oh yeah, it's not easy to do. I mean, it's like it takes a lot of work, and also it's like you have to make decisions and do things in the best interest. And sometimes it's just hard because there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of stuff, and you're putting out a lot of work. So you're out there working really hard, and it takes a lot. We do a lot of post-production, and, because we also run a radio station, and it's like going through that, sometimes we don't even, we get to these messages, and we look, and what the heck was that all about? And it's even today's show, there's so many people on, the comments are just flying by, and it's really hard to keep up with all that. I mean, it's just like it's this instant. You have to make quick decisions. Sometimes you make the best ones. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes people write and complain and say, hey, I meant this, I don't want to be blocked, and we let them back in. But that all takes time.
It does. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because I feel your pain. I feel your pain, Anthony. But I wanted to take us back to when Paloma and you and Ben and everybody came to the Trump rally in El Paso. How did that go? Walk us through the story.
All right. Well, we had a good event. We gathered as many people as we could have, and I feel for everybody it was a successful Trump rally. El Paso really enjoyed it, and it's helped a lot of people, be more forthcoming on who they support. After the Trump rally, Paloma went on her own way with a different group, And so Ben and the rest of the crew, we ended up doing our own thing. However, the following day, she was kind of left out in the cold. She had nowhere to go because the group that she left off with, their B&B was going to be checked back to the owners, and they were heading back to Austin. So she didn't have nowhere to stay because she was going to stay for an additional 2 days. And so I ended up picking her up. Mind you, she was outside of the Airbnb, looking like she had a pretty rough night. I picked her up. I took her back to my house because, I thought maybe she needed a shower. And as soon as she got into my house, she literally just passed out. Passed out on my living room couch, just slunched over sideways, and
Was she just exhausted, or do you think she would? Did she smell like alcohol? Had she been drinking? What was?
she
What do you mean passed
she had
out?
stayed up. They had stayed up drinking all night, and my cousin was living with me at the time, and so him being much younger, 22 years old, when he saw her looking kind of rough, the first thing he said is, "Well, you know what'll take your hangover away?" And he actually handed her a beer. She downed the beer in about 2 minutes and then just passed out on the couch for several hours, to the point where I just left her on the couch, and I left the house. I came back and she was still laying there until I kind of told her, "Hey, let's go get something to eat." So we
Wow.
went to go grab something to eat.
Wow. So you had it was a hangover. She was hung over. Your your nephew, was it your nephew or your cousin?
It's my cousin.
Your cousin sees her and instantly he recognizes this woman is really hungover. She needs a beer. And
Right.
she downed the beer and then she passed out on your couch.
Yes, she slept there for several hours.
Okay.
And what was really awkward for me, Cindy, is her unsocial-like behavior. Because, if I'm at a guest house, I am going to respect myself as an individual first and foremost. And when this woman jumped in the shower and came back out of the shower, uh, she wrapped the towel around herself, kind of low,
Hmm.
and she was prancing around the house like it's no big deal. And to me, that's like socially awkward. Like this is the second time I see you. You're prancing around my house in a towel. The towel barely covers your rear end, and it's kind of hanging low on the front, and you're just prancing back and forth like it's no big deal. And it didn't worry me, but at the same time, it's that kind of like makes things uncomfortable for an individual, especially if you're trying to have a professional relationship with another quote unquote reporter that's trying to bring forth information on what's happening that claims to be a conservative.
Boundaries.
It made it weird. I'm not gonna lie, it made it weird. So to me, that's just, it was really awkward for me. It's socially awkward for me.
It's not just socially awkward for you. I think that's normal for you to be concerned about. I mean, I have never gone to someone's house where I was going to be sleeping or showering and walked outside of the bathroom in a towel. I will take my clothes in the bathroom, dress in the bathroom, and come out clothed. Do you know what I'm talking about, Duke?
Oh yeah, that's the way I do it.
Yeah, right. Even men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever walked around in someone's house in a
No,
towel?
no, my own maybe, but that's
Not
beyond it.
not even when we go to our in-laws'
Oh
homes.
no.
Not even when we go to our family's homes do we walk around in a towel. That's inappropriate. That's weird. Oh my gosh, this is not going well. From what I can hear right now, it's not going very well. So then what happened? Was there any more of that kind of inappropriate behavior?
Yes, and not just at my house. Um, when
Now I have to ask you a quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no worries.
you said she didn't have a place to go. She got out of the Airbnb, and the other people that were staying there left, and then she wanted to stay. Who did she tell that she wanted to stay? Did she tell you? Did she tell Ben? Did you tell her when you found out, hey, I come over to my house, you can stay with me? How did that whole thing go down? How did she end up at your house?
Okay, so in the audio that I played earlier, um, she mentions that I had invited her and Ben to come. Um, of course, this was for the Trump rally, and when the Trump rally ends, obviously everybody's gonna go do their own thing. And Ben stayed at my house. Ben left. I dropped him off at the airport. And little later on, I had to rush after dropping off Ben to go pick up Paloma because apparently the people, she called me. She goes, "Hey, Anthony." And I said, "What's up?" She goes, "Can you pick me up? These guys had to leave right now and they got to go catch their flight." So I dropped off Ben and I hurried back to the Airbnb where she was staying at, which, mind you, they didn't even wait for her to get picked up. They literally left her out on the curb.
Wow.
She was just sitting there with her head slunched over, and I picked her up and I took her to my house. And no, that wasn't the only social awkward behavior that I noticed. Um, there was a few other instances. For example, there was a trip that I took with Ben, and we met up with Oscar down there, and Paloma was out there as well. And she showed up and with a mini skirt. Mind you, she knows we're about to go climb these mountains. Mind you, she knows we're about to go visit the wall and do all these hiking uh, events and whatnot. She shows up in a tiny mini skirt with a t-shirt that basically reveals everything. Yes. And I remember getting in the car. Oscar was driving. Uh, Ben in the front, her husband in the back seat, and Paloma in the middle, and me on the other side. And she sat in the middle in between her husband and I, but she literally sat there with uh, all eyes to see. you know?
I just for the people that can't see what you're doing with your hands, you're making a sign of spread legs. So basically, she was um, woman spreading. I don't even know if woman spreading is a thing. Most women don't do that, but woman spreading, basically spreading her legs open. Uh, and was Jean doing anything about it?
And the most awkward thing about it is that her husband is right there. Okay, it was awkward enough at my house, and then you pull up the Tijuana event where I'm at, and it seems like no or little self-respect in front of your husband. I know myself, had I been married, or when I do get married, I would not condone that kind of behavior, and I would put a stop to it right away. So it was just little things like that really made it like, well, what's going on? Like, especially your husband's right here and you're still acting like that, and he's not like, hey, babe, like, sit right, or put a jacket on, cover your stuff, like it's a little uncomfortable, to be quite honest with you, especially coming from somebody that's supposed to be a conservative, that's supposed to be somebody of some kind of moral values, that claims to have these moral values anyways.
So, just to be clear, did you all discuss that you were going to be doing live streams and filming at the border when you went on this trip to Tijuana?
Oh yeah, it had been talked about. It was very well planned, maybe about 2 weeks in advance before we
What were
actually.
you wearing? What were you wearing for your clothing and your shoes to go on this
Oh,
trip?
I was wearing my jeans, my vest, and my t-shirt, and my hat, just as I'm wearing right now, and jeans.
And Ben and Oscar?
we were all wearing our jeans because we knew we were going to be climbing the mountain. Even her husband was wearing jeans.
And she was wearing a mini skirt.
Yeah, she showed up in her little mini skirt.
What kind of shoes was she wearing?
She had to change from her platform stilettos to some flats once we got towards the mountain area.
So she originally was wearing I call them stripper heels because that's
Well, I didn't want to
everybody.
say that, but yeah.
Well, that's how you distinguish regular high heels from the ones that the strippers wear, right? The ones that have the
Well,
big
yeah, you're
platforms on the
absolutely right.
bottom. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't even know if they have another name, but
They're
um,
really thick. They're really thick, and then they got like a really long heel.
right. We've seen her wear those shoes before in a number of different events that she has gone to, but this is an outdoor venue where you're going to be on rough terrain. So it seems a little weird. How did the filming go? How did all of that, the rest of that day in terms of work with Paloma? She didn't show up dressed appropriately for what you were going to do. Did the filming go okay? What was the rest of your working with her like?
Working with Ben and Oscar is always, we always make the best out of it. We did have to take turns on who kind of watched out for Paloma because once we arrived to the mountain that we were going to kind of go all the way up and follow the wall, the gate, she had her husband stay behind and watch the car. And she put on her flats or tennis shoes and she went up, but her legs were just destroyed from all of the tree branches and all of the knee scraping that she encountered as she was climbing up there with us. And then, mind you, she knows this. She scrapes her legs and damages her knee, and then she goes live and starts playing the victim to the audience. Oh, my legs, and but uh, it's always the best of times when I'm with Oscar and Ben. We make the best out of all situations, and at the end of the day, we did have to slow our pace to make sure that she was okay, because at the end of the day, we are gentlemen. We're not just gonna leave her straggling out by herself, but we did have to take turns back and forth with helping her make her way up the mountain and then all the way back down.
So Jean stays behind watching the car, as you put it. Uh, what was their relationship like during the time that you managed to see them? You spent the pretty
Uh,
much you pretty much spent the day together, didn't you?
yes, and I don't mean to butt in on anybody's relationship, but I'm here again speaking on what I've lived and from my personal experience. All it is fighting. A lot of name calling on both ends. I won't repeat them on your show because I know you sometimes broadcast this on radio,
Right.
but it's a lot of derogatory names from both ends, from one to another. It's not your average relationship, I'll tell you that. It's a
So
lot of cursing involved.
you heard would you categorize the couple as bullying each other? Is that what was
I'd
going
say
on?
abusive would be
Abusive.
more like it towards one another.
Wow. Did you witness any moments of normalcy in that relationship where everybody was just cool, and or was this pretty much the
Um,
form of communication between these two?
it's like their normal way of communication with one another, disrespecting and cussing at one another consistently. That's just how they get along. It took us a minute to kind of just like, okay, kind of start laughing it off, because I mean, what else can you do? I mean, you can't sit there and like make faces at one another, or we just kind of like let it be. We weren't gonna butt into their business, but it seems to be their normal way of getting along with one another. Apparently, that's how their relationship is. I'll tell you one thing: I didn't witness one moment of like, "Oh, come here, honey," type of deal, or holding hands, or none of that. Basically, if they're not at each other's throats, cussing or fighting with one another. They just kind of pretend like neither one of them is there, and they just would direct themselves towards the rest of the people around them, not really so much to one another.
So did you have a conversation with Ben or with Oscar at some point and say, what do you guys think about all the things we witnessed today? How do you feel about it?
I did have one with Oscar. Ben stays out of all of this completely. I did have the conversation with Oscar, however. After witnessing the behavior, and not only that, I mean, it's two grown men, right?
Right.
And you add this wild child to the mix. I mean, at the end of the day, Oscar and I are going to talk.
Yeah.
We're like this. So we came to the conclusion, no, and not only because of this awkward social-like behavior that we endured, we had this conversation based on another fact.
Yeah.
While we were out there and we went out to eat, Paloma showed us how she was running some hate pages against some women, Christina, Amy, and Melinda. The page was like F-Cons or something like that, and she also had one on Instagram where she was just like hammering these women, and she would try to put it into our heads that we have to stick together. And in a panicky type of way, she would tell Oscar and myself, we have to stick together because these güeras think that we're going to let ourselves. These güeros think that we're going to let ourselves. We're Mexican. We got to stick together. And I'm like, I would look at Oscar. I wouldn't say anything then. But when we had our conversation, it was something that I brought up. Also, another thing that was really concerning to me was that day that we were out to eat. You know, if you're going out to eat with somebody and it's a group of 4 or 5 people and everybody's paying their own individual tabs, you're not going to pull out a fat wad and hold it up here and then start like counting it down unless you're trying to have people around you see it. You know, if it was me, I'd pull maybe a $20 bill out of my pocket and make sure I'm actually pulling out a $20 or a $10 bill, whatnot, and then boom, put it on the table. When she pulled out this fat wad of money.
Like, how much money was it? Like, are we talking about a bunch of ones, like for
No,
or was it what?
It was. If I had to guess, it would probably be about $1,000 in that wad. Like,
Wow.
I mean, I've held money in my hand too, and that it looked like a good amount. So I kind of we all look at each other and I said, "Dang, where'd you get that?" You know, like. It just came out naturally. I don't even know why I would ask that, but I said, "Dang, where'd you get that?" She goes, I'll never forget this. She goes, "Los perros pagan." What? I'm like, okay.
That
and
means
I
that
left it
means
alone. I didn't ask. I didn't question anymore. I already knew what that answer actually meant.
And what that means in English is dogs pay. Like, they bring money. Right, the dogs pay.
Right. This was when she was doing her dog rescue in Tijuana, and so immediately after she pulled out this wad of money, I said, "Dang, where'd you get that?" And she goes, "Los perros pagan, güey." And I'm like, "Okay." And I didn't bring it up anymore, but it's something that registered in my mind, and I kept it there. And after the end of the trip, and her trying to get us to attack these other women.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, for some time, simply because of the fact that Trump, she goes by
the Trump brand.
She has Trump on her name. Simply because of that fact, it draws you in, you thinking, not knowing any better, not knowing the history, the patterns, the behavior of this individual, it drags you in. And so it's easy for this woman to start trying to put stuff into your head. And I still, and to this day, I felt bad. And I've apologized to Melinda and Amy because I should not have ever gotten involved in any of that business and any of that mess. Um, but I did end up kind of, to a certain extent, falling into that negativity. And when I caught myself on it, that's when Oscar and I said, you know what? We can't be doing this. I mean, we're trying to accomplish something. We're trying to be taken serious. We can't be getting caught up in fighting this woman's battles simply because she says she's the victim when she's here uh, belittling grandchildren, attacking this other woman, Christina's kid. Just horrible, horrible things that, it just seems like there's no limits as to how low this individual will stoop at times.
Well, you don't have to preach to the choir. The long list of victims that has come on my show and interviewed, and for those who have remained silent in the background, they've all had almost the exact conversation, word for word, that you just gave, which is, we took her at her word. We believed her because she said she was a conservative that, had shared our values, shared our goals, shared our vision, but it turned out not to be the case. And it takes a little bit of time to evaluate a situation, not to mention the fact that this woman was extremely persistent, I would say pushy, aggressive in making demands that you defend her and protect her against her stalkers.
Right. And to the point where she would use Oscar's name, my name, and just to kind of smudge us in the mix whenever she would be uh, coming out and attacking these women on videos or on memes. She would say, I'm not going to let them attack us. I'm not going to let them attack us. And made me like, well, when are they attacking us? Like, it's you. It's not us. It's you. And that was a red flag for me. And I didn't like the way she continued on so hurtful things towards these other women that, they all had their faults, but um, at the end of the day, I did not want to get caught up and stoop down and be known as a cyberbully, so to speak.
Right. That story about the wad of money is super shocking, and I can't get the image out of my mind, and I'll tell you why. Because I have traveled to Mexico most of my life as a child, as an adult, and everything in between. And one of the things that my father has always told us ever since we were little kids was not to wear flashy jewelry and not to pull out wads of money in public. Ever. Never.
Right.
Don't do it. But to do it in Tijuana, Dios mío, holy cow. It is one of the most dangerous cities in the world. It seems quite obvious, she wanted to flash that money for you to see. She wanted to brag. Is that the sense that you got with that when she was showing that money, that she wanted you to see it and she wanted you to know, check it out?
I mean, absolutely. You see, and not to get off topic, but you just see her videos, how she tries to embellish on how she's portraying herself to currently be living in Tijuana, but you really never see any house of where she's at. You really never see any of these designer jeans she walks up to the store and flashes the price tag of. You never see her wearing any of these new clothes into these stores that she walks into. So I think we're dealing with a sick individual. And I'm not here to bash anybody. This is just me, my personal view and observation from this person's behavior, patterns, and self-destructive behavior, basically. I definitely pulling out that kind of money is to try to give yourself some kind of importance, maybe. maybe give yourself some kind of validation. I don't know the case, but I know I would not. I still don't. If I'm eating out at a restaurant, no matter where I'm at, I usually pull out money out of my wallet right here, right under the table, where nobody else's business. Pay my tab, and I'm gone. So definitely trying to give yourself some kind of validation. I feel almost like.
Now, you're here to break the silence. That also means we're here to correct the record, to give people insight into what happened. And people have a lot of questions, Anthony, about what happened in the beginning when you started BNN. Because I recall Oscar on Abusados. And then he announced there was gonna be a group page. And then all of a sudden, BNN and you and he were a thing. And that's when all of this, fighting and all of these things began happening. Can you walk us through that whole thing and tell us what really went on?
All right. Give me 1 second. You guys ready?
Yeah. Take a big sip.
Okay.
Does anybody need a bathroom break? Do we need to triage anyone right now? Okay. Ready.
All right. This is how it all happened. As I'm reporting already on the border, and I'm doing my thing. I did not know who Oscar El Blue was, and I guess being that we were doing similar things, I started getting people commenting, "You gotta talk to Oscar. You gotta talk to Oscar," or messaging me, "You and Oscar gotta link up. You gotta have him talk to you. You gotta bring Oscar on. You gotta bring Oscar on." And I'm like, "Who the hell's Oscar?" Finally, Oscar and I made contact. We talked, and he asked me. I asked him. I said, "So how are you doing everything that you are doing?" And he goes, "No, pues, I have this Facebook group that was created for me to put all of my videos in." I said, "Facebook group?" He's like, yeah. Turns out, Paloma had Oscar through third parties. This woman's very astute, okay? She had reached out to Oscar through a third party or a fake profile, whichever you want to call it, troll, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they told Oscar that they were going to help him build this group. I knew that since Oscar was not the administrator of that group, as that group would grow, Oscar would have no say, and at any given moment, Oscar could be given the boot out of that group.
Right.
I mean, I've been doing Facebook for some time now, for many, many years. So I told him, "Dude," I said, "you got something, man." I said, "Let me help you." I said, "We're going to create you your own public figure page."
Right.
In which you will put all your content in, and I will start sharing from your page onto mine to start redirecting traffic to your page,
Mm-hmm.
to start helping grow his page. When we did that, the attacks started coming. Bam, boom, boom, boom. Like, people were saying this nasty things, just even blatantly lying, fabricating stuff. They've called Oscar a prostitute, saying that he sleeps with women for money, like all sorts of random jibber jab stuff, And we kept working. BNN came about. The attacks were still coming, steady. When we began working with Paloma, the attacks stopped. When we left working with Paloma, the attacks
Started again.
They came like viciously all over again. However, there was a time that even or any time Paloma wasn't really involved with us, the attacks were still coming by the same third party, in which, fast forward a couple of months, these people were all intertwined with the same individual. The one common denominator was Paloma.
So let me ask you, just to be clear, it sounds like you're saying that she wanted Oscar's following and Oscar's content. And she was using third parties to manipulate him into putting all his content on a platform that she would ultimately have control of, and that
Correct.
she could ultimately boot him from. Do you think
Correct.
that all of that was intentional?
I mean, absolutely. This, like I said, she might she's not stupid,
Right.
okay? And I'm like I said, I'm not here to attack anybody, guys. I'm only here to state the facts on everything that so many of you guys have been asking for. So by me sharing the truth and telling you guys how all of this came about, I don't want anybody to take it as Anthony's attacking her, because I have not attacked her this whole almost hour that we've been here. I've simply stating the facts on everything that I've witnessed, everything that has happened throughout the almost 9, 10 months to us. So this woman absolutely knew what she was doing. Through and can I say the one of these profiles?
Sure, go ahead. Say them
Okay,
all. I
so
don't care.
there's it was the profile by the name of J.E. Park,
Okay.
which, come to find out, was one of Paloma's closest uh, contributors.
Okay.
And so at that point, we did not know it though. But when I started Oscar a Blue public figure page for him, they just lost their mind. They were viciously upset. They like there was just
Upset about what?
I have no idea. To me, if you ask me what were they upset about, I think they were upset at the fact that Oscar was doing his thing and that he was going to be able to grow his own audience. Because even if you look at Oscar's videos from when he first started, the guy has something.
Yeah.
Okay, he did not go to journalism school and not get anything out of it. The guy has something, and man, and I'm not just saying that because he's like my brother, but Oscar has something. He's very eloquent on the way on how he speaks. He's able to present information that not many very people are able to come and bring forth. So I think that helping Oscar create his own image and create his own page and his own following definitely uh, was seen as
I see.
a threat to another individual that was trying or that was doing the same kind of reporting in the Tijuana area.
Well, I don't know if you could call it the same.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely correct. But it was seen as a threat
Right, right.
by another individual out there.
And
Absolutely.
and I have to say that it's pretty damning when you have this individual showing a pattern going all the way back to over a year ago, but similar patterns going back years with different victims where they claim where Paloma is claiming, "Oh, I'm very famous and beautiful and everybody wants to talk to me because I'm a celebrity." And they were looking for me, and they came to take a picture with me, and they wanted to come on my platform. They wanted to talk to me, and it's really the opposite. And we see that pattern repeated here, where she saw probably the same thing you and many other people, including myself, saw: a skill, a charisma, an aptitude that Oscar has
Hmm.
to bring information about, and the way that he does it, to bring information about the border, but also the use of fake accounts and third parties is similar in its pattern. In fact, I wanted you to bring up the Conservative Truth page and show the receipts, I guess, if you want to call it that, from her own page. It's funny because here we are. This was supposed to be about Anthony Aguero, posted from someone on the Conservative Truth page. And if you scroll, or you can see it right there on the screen, if you look in the comment section, when the person posted this on Conservative Truth's page, after going to Aguero's page and screen capturing it, they accidentally left the part that says that you can comment as Paloma for Trump in the bottom of the screen capture.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that you personally saw her using the FCON page and another Instagram page. So you know that it was her creating all of these hateful, stalking, harassing messages using these hate pages. And we know that she has new ones, other ones. This is a pattern of behavior that you witnessed. So I'm going to show you one of the conversations, and I wanted you to comment. Quick question real quick first, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Why wasn't she using her platform? She always talks about how big her platform is. Her platform is bigger than anybody's, and she has potential reach of, well, on any given day, it could be thousands or millions, depending on how delusional she's feeling. But what exactly was the deal with her page or her following at the time?
Okay, so Paloma claims that Facebook deplatformed her and took her page because she was caught in election meddling. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. The fact of the matter is that Paloma actually would use her platform for nothing else than to embarrass, body sham, attack, and defame individuals on there. And these people were reporting her page on a constant basis to the point where it finally got shut down. Okay? It got shut down. It got taken off of Facebook completely because it was violating Facebook standards so many times. Facebook only gives you so many amount of times before they finally take your page. And they warn you. Mm-hmm. They warn you. Trust me, Paloma's page was not that big to be considered election meddling or none of that stuff. The fact of the matter is that this woman has been using her platform to attack people, and so that's why she now creates third-party pages through fake profiles to attack every individual. Like, she has Conservative Truth, and she has another Facebook hate page against me. She has one against Michael Shapiro. She had one against Melinda and Amy. She uses the Paloma for Trump Dr. Phil show page. She uses all these multiple little alternate little 100, 200, 300 follower page so that her new platform currently right now doesn't get shut down. Mm-hmm. And what she does is she'll bash you on these third-party sites that she has, and then she will share off of that page onto her main platform, because then if it gets reported, the page that gets shut down is the smaller third-party platform and not her actual page that she's trying so desperately to grow.
Wow.
So that is how it's happening right now. Mm-hmm. And to be quite honest with you guys, I'm out here. I'm putting myself on the line. I already know her pattern. She's probably going to start a live video right now if she hasn't already. Or as soon as we're done here, she's going to go live and the attacks are going to start coming, and she's going to say that she's going to put a restraining order on me, that she's going to file charges, but I'm not doing anything other than speaking facts. I'm not here in any way, shape, or form trying to attack anybody, but I already know, we all, many of us already know her pattern. We already know what she plans to do as soon as this live feed is over. I already know that she's gonna put pictures of my face blown up with these big cheeks, like if I've been eating a lot, and that's what she does. That's just what she does. And uh, I'm not no longer going to pay attention to it. My main goal is today to let everybody know the facts of how it's all happened, how it's conspired to the current day now, and to tell all of you guys that might be going through this, give you guys some courage to speak out against it, because this is, you know, this isn't something to be taken lightly. So,
I,
go
I,
ahead.
I wanted to actually share some of the conversations that she had initially with Oscar making threats. This is in Spanish, so I'm going to translate. And since you speak Spanish, I guess you can verify whether or not I got anything wrong or correct me here. But here's the screen capture of a message. This is from Oscar El Blue Ramirez, sent to Paloma. He says, share your number with me. So he wants her phone number. Share your telephone number with me. And Paloma responds, share your sister, 3 laugh emojis. That's like a dig, Duke. Like, why don't you let me do your sister?
Yeah.
And then she says, you don't know how stupid that. That is a slur for gay men.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Just say what it is.
Okay. That is. Okay. You don't know how stupid you are, but that faggot Anthony for getting involved with the Brazilian witch. He is so stupid. She's saying that Anthony is gay. She calls him a faggot, and that he's stupid for getting involved with the Brazilian witch. We know the Brazilian person that he's been stalking and attacking. And the text goes on to say, no más por chingar, just for screwing, just to bother people.
Just to F with you.
Just to F with you. Yes, just to F with you. Eso les pasó a Amy y a Melinda. That's the same thing that happened to Amy and to Melinda. Y nomás los llevó a que se las cargara la... I can't say that word. And it just basically screwed them over. But she uses a really, really vulgar word for penis in this. And then she says, and they both got screwed over, and I'm still here untouched. The same thing is going to happen to Anthony because of, and then here's the next part. Lo mismo le va a pasar a él por pendejo. The same thing is going to happen to him because he's stupid. Pero a la escala grande, but on a grander scale. That que el pobre ridículo quiere hacer las cosas that this ridiculous person wants to do. I know what I'm telling you. You want a war? You shall have one. And she comes back later and says, the Brazilian will only end up hiding like the cockroach that she is, while he, Anthony, will end up in jail and screwed. She's screwed. Basically, she's saying that the Brazilian screws everyone that she goes near. So obviously, Anthony is going to be screwed and even end up in jail. What was she so upset about that she was talking like that, Anthony?
She was upset every time Every time she feels like we're going to speak out, she then starts going nuts. So last night, after I guess, yeah, I believe yesterday,
Hmm.
in last attempt to kind of scare me onto not coming on the show and not speaking
Right.
my side of the story,
Hmm.
she posted on there that the police department of El Paso was glad to come after me because I am such a bad person, and she had already contacted them and she was going to be working hand in hand with them to get me locked up. And I'm just like, really? Like, really?
Are you visited by the police? Did you get visits from the police?
No,
Are you wearing handcuffs right now, Anthony?
nope.
It looks like a nice watch there.
Yeah,
So,
no.
so it's an intimidation tactic. If anyone is going to defend themselves, and at the time when this message was sent, Oscar had made a video saying that he was tired of the attacks, and you also made a video defending your partner, Oscar.
Right. So I'll share that with you guys and exactly what also happened at that time. While we were out in Tijuana, uh, we felt um, prior to us making and realizing and sitting down making all these observations. I believe it was the first night that we were out there. Everything was still kind of all good. We were all just trying to work towards one common goal, and that was to bring forth the news, solid information, and to get President Trump reelected. That night, we went to a restaurant called Pampas, which is where they sell you nothing but different kind of steak and fillets and all sorts of stuff.
Hmm.
We sat there, and Oscar said, "You know what, guys? I'm going to share with you guys my story. I'm going to tell you guys the reason I am not in the United States." I already knew, but he was just opening up to them in hopes of building a unity, a strong friendship between an alliance between all of us. Oscar opened up to us about,
Wait, to be fair, uh, Oscar wasn't the only one that shared information about their background. You were all trying to, you know, bring your.
mine was already out in the open. I had been open with the audience for some time now, prior to that. So they already knew that I had been put in timeout for 2 years for driving drunk and crashing. Yes.
You come
So,
clean
but
about you come clean about your history, your background with your audience, and Oscar was planning on doing the same. He talked about that.
right, right. So Oscar was just before he went and did a video on his own, telling his audience, he was kind of telling us as a group, of his closest friends at that time, his situation, and he and he told us about why he could not cross. He did say he screwed up when he was much younger. He got caught at the bridge, with drugs, and it's not a secret. And that's not the part that worried Oscar. Oscar opened up to us about a kid
Yeah.
that presumably he thought he had.
Hmm.
And he asked us to please never share that story because the fact that he can't cross to America, uh, he could deal with, but he just didn't want to relive the experience of what he went through with a kid that was presumably his that he had never been able to see.
Hmm.
And to this day, we still talk about it sometimes.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this woman and she got her page taken down, right? She didn't reach out to me because I had already began to distance myself completely from her. I wasn't answering her text messages, her calls, or nothing like that anymore. But she would still contact Oscar every now and then. And when her page was dropped, she reached out to Oscar and she asked Oscar to start sharing her page onto Oscar's page.
Wow.
And since I'm one of the admins on Oscar's page, Oscar, in hopes of still finding some kind of neutral ground or in hopes of possibly salvaging the relationship, he shared it.
Mm-hmm.
And without me even calling Oscar and asking him, why are you sharing Paloma's stuff on your page? I took it upon myself. I went to Oscar's page and I deleted it.
Right.
And then I called him and I told him, we're not doing this. I said, her message does not fall in line with what we're trying to accomplish. She's done nothing but attack these women. She's done nothing for us. She's never shared none of our posts, none of your reporting, none of mine. We're not doing this. We're not helping her because she's all about me, 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 me. And I noticed that. And I would tell Oscar, even when she had her big audience, she would never share any of our stuff or Oscars or even Border Network News, the page. So when I saw Oscar do that, I said, we're not doing that. You're not sharing it. I took it down. She must have noticed. And at this time, the attacks were still coming in, okay?
Yeah.
They were still coming in from the same 4 or 5 little fake profiles that we could never figure out who was really behind them.
Right.
For some time, we even thought they were activists. They went as far as posting stickers in Tijuana of me.
I reported on all of this on my show in the past, and I have to say, I don't know that she isn't with the activists. I've reported on a lot of information that leads me to believe that she is working in tandem with the activists and the human smugglers. And I presented that information for those of you who want to go back and check it out. That's actually how she got on my radar as a reporter. I started seeing her everywhere where the smugglers were operating, everywhere and talking to the spokespeople of Pueblos Sin Fronteras and talking to all of these different organizations, watching her say that she's a conservative, but I never saw her confront a single person that was for open borders, that was for fraudulent asylum-seeking lawyers and people creating fake marriages and people, assaulting police in Tijuana. I never saw her come against any of those folks. And she was right there around them. So I thought, this is very strange. That's how she got on my radar at first. So I don't know what she is, Anthony.
I have no clue. So I told Oscar, you're not sharing it. I took it down. He said, okay, bro, I got you. We'll do it. The attacks have been continuous, have been steady. But the minute that we took that stuff off of the page, she realized that. I know she realized that because she's always looking through our stuff. The attacks started coming in hard. And she's very cryptic on the way she communicates sometimes. And sometimes she posts things out there, either be on her public figure page or on her personal page, that very little people actually understand what she's trying to say. And so she started putting and posting indirect comments in reference to Oscar consistently. And I mean, we know who you're talking about. We sat there in the same table, and exactly what you're saying, we know who it is you're talking about. Don't sit there and say, oh, these guys just misconstrued it. No, we know exactly what you're talking about, who you're talking about, and what your intent is. So at that point, it continued, and we weren't saying anything. So finally, one night, after I got home from the desert, from being out with the Patriots, I got on a live stream and I said, enough. I'm gonna speak up because I know Oscar's not gonna say anything because he just wasn't gonna say anything, you know. So I jumped on the live feed and I said something and I started calling her out on her truths. She didn't like that. And so instead of her sharing the video in its entirety to say, look at this guy, she did not do that. What she did is she cropped the video in little snippets to then repaste it to however she wants however she wants it to fit her narrative, to make me look like I am this horrible person that is just attacking a woman, which is far from the truth. Exactly how I've been talking to you guys for almost 2 hours now is exactly how I made that video in reference to her that time.
Now let's look at a conversation that she had on text messages, a piece of a conversation. And I don't want to spend a lot of time looking at screen captures today, but I do want to show some receipts because this is my show, and you know I always do that. But I do want and I do want to show you the full conversations, which I will do on a separate show because this is Anthony Aguero's opportunity to break the silence, and that's what we're going to focus on. But I want to contrast right now, in the moment that Anthony talks about how he's been talking on my show and what he said in that video before and what she did in response. Here is Paloma Zuniga speaking to Oscar. At the very top there, he says something in response to something that got cut off there that Paloma said, and it says in Spanish, ten huevos yo, me have balls? And she responds, si se meten conmigo me los voy a chingar, güey. Ya entiendan. If you mess with me, I'm going to screw you. Stupid or dude. You better understand it. And then Blue says, no one has interfered with you. Watch it, Paloma. I wanted to talk with you. Cuídate, Paloma. Quise hablar contigo. Watch yourself, Paloma. I wanted to speak to you. And she says, you la cagaste haciendo un video queriendo chingarme. You effed up doing that video trying to F me. She's referring to the video where Blue finally spoke out, right? And then in the very next part of the sentence, she says, luego aquel pendejo y yo no me he dejado. So you screwed up doing the video you did, and he screwed up doing the video he did. He, the pendejo she's referring to here, is your video, right, Anthony?
Yes.
And then she says, and I fought back. I'm fighting back. Ahora, si quieren seguir chingando y si quieren guerra, la van a tener. Punto. So if you want to keep going and you want a war, you will have one. She's basically saying if you do any videos exposing what happened or talking about it in any way, you will have a war. She's referred to this twice, a war, period. And then she says, that is why I am ordering you not to interfere with me, with who you shouldn't. Don't meddle with who you shouldn't. Don't interfere with somebody you shouldn't interfere with. Do you understand? And Blue responds, God bless you, Paloma. So, very, very different. It seems to me that Paloma has distorted the rights of any of the people that she has victimized, attacked, stalked, harassed, cyberbullied, where if they ever talk about it, they're just supposed to be bullied, harassed, stalked, and keep their heads down and not say anything and never mention any of this very weird, not socially acceptable behavior that they noticed. They're not supposed to ever tell the story that Anthony is telling you about the truth of what he learned about Paloma. And the fact that this was not a person that he wanted to work with, not on BNN, not in the MAGA movement. He didn't want to have anything to do with this person because of her inappropriate behavior and all of the red flags that started to pop up everywhere. So his response was to finally put an end to the stalking, to the harassment, or so you thought, by saying what the truth was, by telling the truth in your video. And the response was, you are going to have a war. What happened after both of you did that? Because I know that at some point she was at another event that you attended and she was served with some papers. She is always attributed, even till this day, that you were having somebody stalk her and or serve her that day. What happened? What really happened?
So the We Build the Wall was in town because they built the first privately citizen-funded wall here in El Paso, or Sunland Park, which is a small county that borders El Paso, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And she made her way down here. But this woman doesn't understand and wants to be putting all the blame that it's me. This woman has made enough enemies that I really don't have to do anything. People will literally, that she's already harmed in the past, that are actually trying to come after her, and she continues to come and attack Oscar, myself, you. She's relentless with us for one reason or another. And so she let it known all over her social media. She even live streamed on her way down to El Paso. So everybody knew she was going to be down here, okay? Being that you're coming down to El Paso pretty much, although it was Sunland Park, but like I said, it's a walk distance from El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
Being that you're coming into my hometown, of course, I have large base here in El Paso. Of course, I have lots of supporters here in El Paso. Of course, my supporters are not very fond of what you're doing. A lot of these supporters have asked me to come out, to sling mud, to say this, do that, and I've been quiet. So when the event was happening at the wall, Paloma showed up. Paloma showed up and she was served with documents for a court hearing or a restraining order. I'm not sure. I know she was served with some documents. And she was upset. Oh, she was so mad. So mad. She was fuming at the event. And if you look back at the video, when they're asking her questions, they're asking her questions about immigration and this, and that. She's so upset that when she's up there in the panel, her only answer was, finish the wall. Finish the wall. She tries to rally the crowd behind her. She could not even have a substantial answer to what they were actually asking her. And she was fuming, and she was really upset over that. But however, I'm not the one serving her. she has gotten in altercations with individuals across the country.
Well, you know
Okay.
something, Anthony, I am sort of becoming an expert on patterns of behavior with this person because I've interviewed and seen so much evidence of how she operates. I have to tell you that she's not very good at giving interviews on the topic of immigration. She really doesn't know what she's talking about.
Hmm.
I've seen it before. In fact, recently I shared a video in which she is abusing an adult with cerebral palsy that is nonverbal. She was supposed to be watching this woman, caring for her. Instead, she was trying to do an interview, and I say trying because she wasn't answering very well, on
Hmm.
the radio and ignoring the adult who needed her diaper changed. Finally, this woman drops the diaper, takes it off herself, and is trying to get Paloma to change her. She is acting so desperately that Paloma actually takes out her anger that the interview did not go well out on Jasmine, the daughter of Mary Tando, one of the women who's also been stalked, harassed, and victimized by Paloma, Paloma for Trump.
Right.
She actually says in the recording a cuss word, and then she says, they cut me off because she got cut off. Her answer was
Hmm.
so terrible, the radio personalities said, goodbye, we don't need to talk to you anymore. And she was very, very angry, and it was right after that that she uses abusive language toward this adult with disabilities.
Right.
It's not her fault that you didn't have a good answer for the radio. It's not her fault that, she was cut off. But she was the one that paid the brunt of that attack. And you happened to be in an event that she attended where she got served.
Right. And so it's just, I really, and not only does she attack people with disabilities, I've seen it to where when she was running that FCONS page, there's a woman that lives in Dallas, Texas. Uh, I'll just say her first name, but I won't say her last. Her name is Christina.
Mm-hmm.
This woman actually doxed pictures of Christina's baby and then started putting other pictures of what she was calling crack babies together, and she would make fun of this woman's child, calling him a crack baby or you're a crack mother, and I'm just like, it's one thing to go after a grown up, but then when you go after people's children, she actually and my girlfriend still to this day did not know. I posted a picture or a video of our kid while he was feeding a homeless
Mm-hmm.
as doing a good deed because he was kind of doing the same things, falling
Mm-hmm.
almost into the same stuff that I'm doing.
Right.
And so I thought he was like, can we put it up? And he was really excited to do it. Well, they took a picture of him and she put it up for some time and it didn't look good. So she ended up taking it down. But she's even come after my kid. So it's just this woman, unfortunately, seems to have no boundaries, zero social skills. And the way she goes about it or how she tries to draw attention to her is just never in a positive manner. And so, which is why it's concerning to me of how she is involved uh, with certain organizations because the lack of respect, the lack of etiquette, I know that's not what some people that work so hard to get some organizations going to
Yeah.
have an individual like that affiliated with. And yes, she goes, well, look at what you've done. Yes, but I've redeemed myself and I'm doing much better things than that. It seems like the pattern that she is on has been
Currently.
consistently for years on now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've uncovered videos of her doing fraud at the border with boats,
Mm-hmm.
where she is using it to blackmail even her own husband.
Right.
And she wants to come out and say and project and say, well, it was for a movie that I was doing, and it was for this that I was doing, and it's just it's clear as day, and I want to make sure that I make it very clear for those that are watching right now at home, that maybe you're a first time, that's the first time you finally hear me speak on it, or that you're an actual Paloma follower, and you're on here for the very first time. Do not be deceived and allow this woman to project and let her put into your head that she is a victim. The fact that she uses our president's name on her page does not mean that she holds any kind of substance or values like our president. Do not be fooled into the facade that she is a conservative simply because she has Trump at the end of her page name. I was in those shoes and I fell for that at some point for a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned from it and I was able to reevaluate and realize the pattern and the behavior. And again, for all of you guys that are watching right now, here in a little bit, if she has not already, she's gonna go live. She's gonna start threatening that we're attacking her and we're doing this, this, and that. We're not attacking her. We're simply setting the record straight,
Mm-hmm.
because it's been far too long that she continues to try to bully me. She tries to victimize me without being successful at it. And so, me seeing all of the damage and hurt that she is doing to so many of you guys that are actually on here watching, me speaking up is for you guys, to give you guys a voice and let you guys know that you're not alone. And if you're one of these people that are going through it, speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Speak up. That's the only way that we're going to be able to defeat this monster, because that's what it is. It is a tangled web with a spider in there, and she's got here and there and there and there, and fake profiles and fake pages. It's a whole little small baby network.
And don't forget the
Of
restraining orders.
yeah, I mean, she uses taxpayer money. I don't even know if this woman pays taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, I know. Well, I won't even get into that, but she uses our court systems in America to put restraining orders on people, to try to weaponize the government against tax-paying citizens.
Conservatives, most of them.
And mainly, that's all she's come after.
Yeah.
People that are on the right side of things, people that are on the right side of politics, those are the only people that she is relentless and viciously attacking. Why? Ask yourself. Ask
Yeah.
yourself.
You know what I want to know about? When I hate to like drag you back into the past, but I have a couple of things I want to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
First of
That's what I'm
all,
here for.
when you were with her, she showed you a giant wad of money about the dogs, but did you ever see the dogs? Did you see the 35 dogs? Did you see how they eat, where they sleep? Did you see any of it? Inquiring minds want to know, because I have never seen it. I mean, I've seen some 1, 2, 3 dogs in the car sometimes, but I hear there's 35.
I have yet to see any dog kennel, any dog shelter, any place, any dog yard with pups running around happily like she claims, and she's got these dogs. Now, mind you,
She didn't show you pictures on her phone of her dogs or her house?
never, never. I've only just seen her in her car, and that's it. Now, mind you, you guys or some people keep sending her money for her dogs, but where is she? She's in California. She's in LA parading herself back and forth, claiming she goes to the Oscars party and she made a video
Did she
that she
mention?
was
Did she mention the dogs on the whole day that she was with you, at the time that she spent at your place? Who was caring for the dogs?
never, never. Now, for those of you that have never been to Tijuana, there's dogs everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's stray dogs. Okay? So it's really easy for me to walk up to a dog and say, "Oh, look," and hold up my camera and make a quick video. Look at this dog right here, guys. For just 20 days, $20 a day, you can make a difference type of deal, you know? And it's very easy to portray as, "Oh, look, guys, this is my new dog," when you can just pick up a dog right off the street. And American citizens are so loving and so giving, especially with animals, and sometimes, sadly to say, more with animals than with humans. But it's a fact, and because animals can't vet for themselves, especially
Right.
dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really easy for anybody that's out there just to pick up any dog, grab your camera phone and start making a quick snippet and say, "Look, guys, it's my new dog. You see this thing that he's got hanging out his eye here? He needs operation. Help me. I need $300 because the vet told me that if he's not, he's gonna lose his brain." Or it's easy to panic people
Yeah.
and to get people believing this. And so all of a sudden, people send money. You don't never see the dog again.
Right.
What happened to Chapulín? What happened to XYZ dog?
Wow.
You don't hear about them anymore. And
It's
for
just so
somebody
weird
that
because
claims,
it's just so weird to me because you were in her proximity for, you know, however many days, however many times that you came into contact with her, and she was in your house. She met your cousin. She presumably she met your girlfriend, your child. Um, you went out to eat with her. You saw her get drunk to the point where she was passed out. She was inappropriate. The way that she dressed, the way that she acted in her supposed profession. She showed you all of these things about herself, but she didn't have. I mean, as much as she talks about these dogs, you would think that she would be constantly bringing them up. Not Melinda, not Amy, not the FCON page, not the stalker in New Jersey or any of that. That she would be talking about her dogs, right? Oh my gosh, this one is so cute. This one over here needs a surgery or whatever, but nothing. Really?
nothing ever, ever, ever. No mention. Not no. Hey, let me call my dog caregiver. Let me call the kennel where I have my dogs. Let me call the person that watches my dogs, that feeds my dogs. Nothing. And mind you, I even went on a trip in which I met her in Albuquerque as well, with Cowboys for Trump, and not any mention, not any care about any dogs whatsoever. But yet she always claims that she's got this animal rescue, Paloma for Trump dogs, Paloma for Trump animal rescue. These are just scams, okay? People need to realize, and I know she's going to explode after we're done here, and she's gonna be body shaming me like she does so many women. Now she's body shaming men. Um, I know she's gonna lose her mind after hearing all of this, but it's unfortunate. We're not dealing with a normal person. And again, I'm not here to try to embellish on that or try to attack anybody. I just want people to see the truth and why we are being attacked the way we are, because we've literally done nothing to this woman. She's brought up
That's right.
issues.
That's right. You didn't build her page. You didn't give her followers, continue to promote her after you saw all the red flags. You didn't give her your donations. You didn't donate to her fake dog stuff. You didn't give her what she wanted. That's the problem, Anthony. You
Mhm.
didn't give her more.
Right. So, I mean, and I wasn't manipulated as other men were to have to go along with it, because I know of several individuals of which she can easily blackmail right now, so they don't speak out against her because they have, or she has pictures of them while they're being married. She has pictures of them in revealing ways. So some of these individuals have maintained or abstained from saying anything on her behavior because they know if they say anything, she can just turn to
Destroy.
social media or show their wives, look, here's your husband.
Yep. She
Look,
can.
this is what's happening.
So you're talking
And
about blackmail.
absolutely, absolutely. I know uh, two guys,
Wow.
two gentlemen that don't speak up against her, that I talk to every now and then on the phone, and they have straight out told me, man, I wish I could say something, but if I do, she's gonna run to my wife.
Yep.
And that is the word right out of their mouths.
God, it makes me wonder so much into contact with you. The inappropriate behaviors almost seem like a dragnet, like a trick, so that some unsuspecting rube of a man will put himself in a compromising position. Then she's got you by the short hairs. Now she can do
Hmm.
anything she wants and make demands of you. And if you don't do what she wants, got a picture, right?
Yeah,
The other
absolutely.
the other question I had for you is about that trip. When she got served, wasn't it after that that she became a supporter of Sam Williams? I mean, she was pretty upset at you that day, even though you didn't have anything to do with her being served, but she was very mad at you, Anthony, at you specifically. I think she felt you had something to do with her being served papers that day and being embarrassed publicly.
Well, again, it comes back to it. The minute that that an officer was walking up to her, there was somebody that was recording it. Okay, and like I said, she's made plenty of enemies throughout the country, not just here in El Paso. That people are gonna want to know what she's up to. They're gonna want to know where she's going, what she's up to, what she's driving. Because she's attacked so many people on so many ends. So that day in particular, she after that happened, she then started getting in close with that gentleman that also ran
Mm-hmm.
for Congress,
Mm-hmm.
and she, I guess, became his supporter, and they started working together, and that's when that hate page became all about me and my race in Congress. And mind you, this gentleman that is running for Congress still, he actually would share this garbage page on his congressional page. Okay,
What?
so he would share whatever they would post on the hate page about me. He would then reshare it onto his page,
Wow.
and you're just like, okay, is this guy? What is he trying to do? Like even I, that I have the platform to really come after somebody and pound on them, even I don't do that.
Of course.
And so he started sharing a lot of the nasty stuff that was being done by Paloma and her cronies on this hate page, and then reshared onwards, trying to hurt me. Um, Again, but yeah, she did come close to him. She actually went to his house as well, um, and they started working together.
That
So
explains so much. Because, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I heard her doing videos about this candidate and how she supports him. And I was like, Paloma has a hard time stringing a sentence together, let alone helping someone in their campaign. She doesn't have the skill set to do this. What is going on here? Now it makes sense. She had no intent or interest in supporting any particular candidate or doing work for their campaign. She just wanted to use him as a vehicle to bash you, and he was a willing candidate. to do it.
Yeah, he got baited into it. Absolutely. And he actually got another gentleman that is running for a different position that went unopposed this time around.
Hmm.
Sam Williams got that guy to want to reach out to Paloma, and he started begging like a dog on her live feeds. Hey, please call me. Sam told me to contact you. Hey, hey, hey. And she finally acknowledged him. She was like, all right, guy, I'll message you later on one of her live streams. But yeah, people don't know what they don't know.
They don't
So
know.
they, they are oblivious to everything that she's up to and what she is currently doing and how she manipulates so much her audience and whatever it is to fit her narrative, her victimization narrative, because she's always the victim.
Well, you know what? That's what we're here for on a Mexican Crossing Lines. We reveal the truth. We peel back the layers of the onion. And you know what? The truth shall set you free. Once people understand her modus operandi, the way that she has a pattern of behavior, that she's been doing, the same exact pattern for years and years and years, it demystifies what she is doing to other people, and it allows people to protect themselves from this kind of behavior. So thank you so much for coming on. Tell us what is next for you, for BNN. What's coming up? Is there anything that you can tell us about your work coming up? And obviously, I would love to have you back on, and Oscar, because there are parts of this story that pertain to him that I'd like to know more about. So what's up with the future of BNN and Oscar and you?
Well, we are revamping BNN. It's almost BNN 2.0. We will be out on the field in the next couple of days. It's a huge, huge, huge surprise for everybody.
Cool.
And we're going to come back strong. We're going to be back on the border, and we are going to be, fighting for both countries like we have been in the past and we have been up until right now. We're collaborating with one more individual, which I will not name because I need to call that person after we're done here
Okay.
to solidify it. But here on Thursday, you guys are going to see something huge.
Amazing. Thank you for keeping us in the loop. And please, come back to the show if you have any updates, any information. I'm going to tell you what I've told a lot of the people that have encountered Paloma and have been victimized by her on social media or in person. And it is that after you do the interview with me, lots of other things are going to come back to your memory. A lot of other victims may come to the foreground. Your statements, your testimony is powerful. It has the ability to heal. It has the ability to reveal, and it has the ability to bring others forward. So if you remember anything, if there is any updates that you get in the process of this, discovery after this interview, please share it with the Mexican Crossing Lines.
Absolutely. And I just want to tell you, thank you for everything that you do, for all of your shows, all the investigations that you do on all of these border activists. And I want to tell your audience, thank you guys for having me. I hope all of you guys have already liked their page. And guys, if you are a victim of cyberbullying, speak up on it. Speak up on it because you might be the person to give courage to another individual to want to speak out on it and not be a victim. Anybody that's going through this, we all must stick together and help one another. And if there is one common denominator, we must bring it forth and share it with everybody else because it needs to stop. So thank you guys for having me. Peace and love, everybody, and always your country first.
Thank you so much, Anthony. We really love having Anthony on tonight's show. Duke, I always learn so much.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one of Paloma's victims reveals another layer of truth, folks. Just when you thought, like, man, the information I have, this is a lot. There is more, and more will be revealed in the very near future. So keep it tuned to 88.1 FM KPPPLP, Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. More to come. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Buenas noches.